Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sharon Spurlock, the Senior Director of Family Education. Welcome to our weekly Q&A. It's just about the most wonderful time of the year here, which means it's time for us to talk to our CEO and President, Mark Keeley, about all the amazing things that are going on at the St. Louis Arc.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to share some information with folks. I want to spend some time looking at the last year or so, and then also looking forward to the future and the things that I'm most excited about. So I joined the agency 35 and a half years ago. Prior to that, I was a student here at for 1 year, and then I finished my graduate degree in social work. And when I graduated, they asked me to come back to the ARC and work in the family support department and help reform the respite care program. They asked me to make a 2-year commitment, which I absolutely refused to do because I was a young person that could go any place in this world. And so I came, but stayed for 35 years. So I had a great boss who recognized that I wanted new challenges every couple of years, and every couple of years she gave me those new challenges. And as a result, I continue to grow with the organization and play different roles in the organization. I was over quality for 25 years, and then I've been president and CEO now for a little over 9 years. Today, I want to talk to you about where we are as an organization, what we've accomplished in the last year, and where we're going from here. Since the pandemic, there's been a lot of conversations about comparing pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. A lot of organizations and businesses have really changed how they've done businesses. Some have gone out of business, some continue to thrive. I'm very proud to say that the St. Louis Arc was able to pivot how we did services, to reshape some of our programs, to downsize in some areas, but also expand in other areas. And I believe today that we are now a much stronger, much more dynamic organization, and we're headed in a great direction, and I want to share some of those successes with you today. So if you don't know, we do have a strategic plan. Most nonprofit organizations have strategic plans, and they are a guiding document of where we're going and how we intend to get there. In the St. Louis Arc, this plan is a working document that we use all the time. The executive team, the board of directors all refer to this strategic plan, which is available on our website. And it tells you where we're going. So we started this in July of 2022, and it goes through June of 2026. So we're about halfway through this strategic plan. This plan has 5 external goals that we're working on, or participant-focused goals, and then there are 2 internal goals. I will go over these throughout the presentation and give you updates of where we are with each one of them. So the first goal is under children's services, and we set a goal to significantly increase the number of children between the ages of birth to 12 years of age impacted by the St. Louis Arc. We had, just prior to the pandemic, made a strategic decision to shut down an early childhood center that we had in the Central West End that we had run for 30 years. But the program was amazing when it started, but most daycare centers were not taking children with disabilities at that time. And today, most daycare centers do take children with disabilities. So we needed to change our focus on how we could impact daycare centers across the metropolitan area and improve services for children. So we've actually substantially increased the services to children since the pandemic. We made substantial gains in the last year in our early embedded program, which is in the Normandy district and North County areas. We go into daycare centers and assess 100% of the kids in those daycare centers. And then we determine who has educational delays or developmental disabilities, and we work with the instructors in those classrooms to adapt their curriculum to meet the needs of all the children in the classrooms. In 2024, last fiscal year, we went from serving 374 children in 16 centers to 766 children in 25 centers. That's a 104% increase. That's tremendous. Prior to the pandemic, we had only reached 300 children. So the massive amount of increase in our early embedded program, we're so pleased with the work that they're doing, and we could not do it without our funding from the Community Impact Network and most recently the St. Louis County Children's Service Fund. As this program has grown, we've added some different components to it, some music therapy groups, some reading groups, communication groups that have been really helpful to the children. And most recently, we've added a therapist to that group. That counselor does individual counseling and group counseling for children who experience trauma. And starting in the new year, in January, that counselor will also be providing family therapy for the entire family. So we're excited to see that program really expanding. We're also looking at potentially expanding that service to St. Louis City sometime next fiscal year. Continuing on our children's services, one of our programs is our Capable Kids and Family program. This program is an early intervention program that provides adaptive equipment and educational toys to young individuals birth to 7 years of age that enhances any sort of therapies that they're getting to help them develop and catch up with or maintain their developmental goals. And that is just a part of the program. The other part of the program is our staff will go into the families' homes and identify what other resources does this family need to keep them whole, to make them stronger, to help them thrive and survive in their households. And so this program is always in high demand. We have never really had to advertise this program because there's a huge demand for this service, and families hear about it and they all want it. So as an organization, we have made it a priority to grow this service. We plan to double the capacity of this program in the next year. Last year, we served 180 children. Our goal for next year is to serve 350 kids, which is in fiscal year 2025. So that starts in it's right now, but we'll start building up that program in January. To do that, we've done a couple of things. First of all, we moved this program under family support, which is where it originated. When I was running family support with Sharon Spurlock, we brought this program in-house from Rolla, and we've moved it back there under the direction of Sandy Irwin, our director of family supports, and AJ Johnson, who is our now assistant director of family supports over the Capable Kids and Family program, and Domenica Miramonte has been elevated to a coordinator position to help with that expansion. I know under their combined leadership, this is going to be a very successful expansion, and we're looking forward to seeing that grow. We want to take all the kids off the wait list, but as I keep saying to the board, the minute we take somebody off the wait list, there's 2 other kids waiting to get back on that list. So that program will always be in high demand, but we're looking forward to expanding it. Our next goal is to deepen and expand family support and navigation. These are services that were really developed strongly under Sharon's leadership over the last several years. And the demand for these services is also very, very high. One of the things that we've done in the lower right-hand corner of this slide, you will see a picture of Leanna Sanders. Leanna Sanders is a licensed clinical social worker that works for us. And she has gone from being a part-time therapist for us to being a full-time therapist. So Leanna provides individual and group counseling, short-term counseling for individuals who are dealing with issues like grief and loss, some trauma-focused therapy. But Leanna has been a huge asset to the individuals that she supports. The demand for those services have grown significantly since the pandemic. And so Leanna came to us with a proposal to expand it to full-time, which we were thrilled that she wanted to do that, and we were happy to support her. We envision this program continuing to grow over the next few years under Leanna's leadership, and we hope to add more therapists in the future. Our family navigation program, which helps individual families who are in a transition phase or going through a crisis, our navigators help them to identify resources and supports that will help them to get through whatever that challenge is that they're facing. Last year, they reached over 250 participants and helped them through those transitions. That continues to be a huge demand. There are other organizations that provide family navigation, and our navigators are working with those other organizations to fine-tune what family navigation is and what it isn't, so that we're all working from the same parameters and providing the same similar supports. The demand out there is huge, and it's great to have all of these different agencies collaborating together on this service. Another area under family support where we have expanded and grown a lot is our family education series, which is very, very popular. Last year, they reached over 1,400 participants. That's amazing when you consider prior to the pandemic, the series only reached 462 participants. So a huge increase pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. Part of that was being able to switch to these online formats, making the information available to people all over the place. And I had times that people can watch them, not just at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but also if they want to watch this video later at 11 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning when they can't sleep, I'll put you to sleep. Just watch this at any point in time. So the family support team has developed these online trainings and supports that are available to anybody, and it's really expanded how people get the information that they need when they need it. Another family support program that is very crucial and one of the largest ones in our agency is our in-home residential or respite support services. This service is for individuals who reside in their primary home with their parent or primary caregiver. It is to allow both of them to get a break from one another and to take primarily give the caregiver a break from caring for somebody so that they can recharge their batteries and be better prepared to serve them going forward. This program is huge. Last year, we served 1,500 families, reserve services, both in St. Louis City and St. Louis County. We've made lots of tweaks to this program over the years, and most recently, we have increased some quality measures to ensure that every family is using this service the way it's intended, and that we are being fiscally responsible with the county dollars and the city dollars that we get to provide these services. The team has done a great job of educating families on what the service is and what it isn't, how you can and cannot use the service. So they're doing a nice job of bringing this program up. They've put everything online now. It's very easy for families to submit their hours online and to get their reimbursement payments sent directly to their bank account. So my kudos to them. The next area is another participant-focused goal, which is to bridge the gap between youth and adult services. This focuses on the transition from school age to adulthood. So when you think about when you finished high school and thought about what was next for you, I wanted to make sure as we built this strategic plan that we were addressing this gap that we have seen for many, many years. We saw significant growth in several areas that help foster independence as you move from school to adulthood. And so one of the areas is in our transition services. They went from 233 people served in 2023 to 314 individuals served in 2024. That's a big increase. This service really was just in its infancy stage just before the pandemic. And yet we've been able to grow it and expand it to reach 314 people most recently, and I know this year they're on track to exceed those numbers. The launch program, the next program, has helped many individuals map out their goals for their future. They've helped them to build plans to achieve their goals and then taught them the skills necessary to achieve their dreams and increase their independence. The Connect program went from serving 80 people to 90 people last year. Connect helps individuals who live independently remain independent by providing up to 12 hours of support per week to those individuals to help them with the maybe the few things that they need assistance with to continue to live independently in the community. The Connect team has done a phenomenal job under the leadership of Beth Moeller. They have really instilled a lot of confidence and independent living skills in the people that they support. It is one of two areas in this organization that grew throughout the pandemic, where we continue to take on more individuals, and the staff there has been phenomenal. They are a loyal team that work really well together. And I'm so proud of the work that they've done and that they were able to expand throughout the pandemic and since to grow in this area. Another area that fosters independent skills and also was an area where we saw growth throughout the pandemic and since is our employment services area. Our team helped 497 people get jobs from over 180 employers last fiscal year. That's incredible when you think about how necessary it is for all of us to have a job and to maintain a job. Unless you're independently wealthy, we need income to maintain our independence. Brian Hubler and his team have done a great job of building relationships with many, many employers around the metropolitan area. They have a skilled team that help assess what skills individuals have and what types of jobs align with those skills. What skills do they need to get a job? And they are great at teaching those skills to individuals so that they can be successful in getting careers. Again, this is one of the two service areas with the Connect program where we saw growth throughout the pandemic. These two programs actually went back to the funding sources each year, asking for additional funding so that they could serve more people when a lot of other agencies could not do that. Our team has done a phenomenal job with that. Brian and his team have been so successful in getting people careers, not just jobs, that they have earned a reputation of being a successful organization if you want to get a job to come to the St. Louis Arc. So my kudos to all of them on the work that they do. Another area that helps foster independence is our social opportunities. Our leisure and recreational programs help foster independence by teaching individuals good people skills, social skills, the value of teamwork, and some pre-employment skill building, as well as social, emotional, physical well-being. Rhonda and her team have grown tremendously over the last year. So during fiscal year 2024, Leisure Services saw a huge increase of 185 new people accessing services. So they served a total of 546 individuals last year. They also added 16 new social leisure programs, which is phenomenal when you think about how challenging it is to start one new program, but they started 16 new ones last year, and they were very successful. You see in the upper left corner, pickleball is obviously a huge thing across the country, and not to be left out, our leisure team started doing pickleball clinics, and they have expanded now to many ARC United teams playing basketball and softball, golf, and soccer. So I love that they have embraced the philosophy of inclusion, have taught other recreational programs and community centers on how to provide inclusive recreational opportunities to all people, and setting that standard across the metropolitan area. Their work has helped people to build their own self-confidence, their physical stamina and abilities, and to encouraging those folks to be their genuine selves, which you know, a lot of young folks don't fit in, don't feel like they fit in. Most of us go through a tough time when we're young adults, and having a group of people like the Leisure Team showing you that it's perfectly okay to be who you are and to embrace who you are, helps them to be more confident and to be more social and to be more successful as they move forward. The next external goal is to establish naturalistic behavioral supports for individuals with moderate behavioral needs. This means that we want to infuse behavioral teachings within our staff so that they know how to work with individuals. Most behavior, we understand, is a form of communication, and just learning what is a person trying to communicate to us through their behavior helps us to better understand them and to support them better. So our day services is an area where we have focused a lot on the naturalistic behavioral supports, and they continue to provide a vital service to hundreds of individuals throughout St. Louis City and County. Our day services include community engagement, which served over 130 individuals during last fiscal year. Our Aging with Empowerment program, which serves 61 individuals. This is for adult seniors who perhaps don't want the 5 days a week that is available to them through the community engagement program, but they still want to be involved periodically and to connect with their friends throughout the week. So that's when the Aging with Empowerment program was started. And then most recently, the newest day support is Learning Independence for Tomorrow, or LIFT. And that program served 15 individuals. That program is unique in that they're designed to help folks who perhaps have challenging behaviors or communication issues, where we're helping them to identify what supports they need to be more successful in a day program or more successful in an employment setting. So the LIFT program has done great work. Recognizing that our day supports are a huge component of what we do as an organization, and with the transition in leadership, which I'll go over in a minute, I elevated this past year Megan Favaza to be Vice President of Day Services and Employment Services. And Megan has been with the organization for 15 plus years. She has a tremendous brain that is very good at designing programs, also establishing new direction for some of our service areas. And Megan has been a tremendous addition to the executive team. She is both strategic and visionary for the future growth of our organization. As a result of Megan's promotion, we also promoted Jackie Majat to Director of Day Services. And then under Jackie, we have Dana Howard and Casey Bagwell are both now Assistant Directors. And they oversee, the three of them oversee the different programs under our day supports. Additionally, in day supports, and thank you so much for your patience, folks, we have moved into our Ellisville location, our new Ellisville hub, which we're super excited about. Beautiful new setting, much deserved upgrade for the team out there and the individuals that we support out there. Really great central location in Ellisville, directly across the street from the library and many of the services that we tap into. Now to our North County team. Thank you for your patience as well. We have been renovating that site for quite some time now. It's been disruptive to their services. It's been much longer than we anticipated, but we hope that the payoff will be great. And I appreciate everybody's patience with that. So our naturalistic behavioral supports falls under John Kelly and our behavioral team. John and one other of our staff members are both board certified behavior analysts who have helped us to grow our naturalistic behavioral supports with their team of behavior support specialists. They help with the LIFT program that I mentioned a few minutes ago to better support individuals in that area, but they also have been very gracious to reach out to residential and to make their services available to anybody in the organization that are struggling with behavior. So I appreciate John and his leadership and the entire team for helping us to elevate our supports to those individuals. The next area I want to talk about is our residential supports, and our residential team is second to none, I will say that. Last year, Tim Bradbury, who had been our Vice President of Residential and Medical Services for 34 years, retired. We were very sorry to lose him, but happy that he was able to retire when he wanted to. He was a tremendous leader who helped this agency grow a lot over the 3 decades that he was with us. When he started, we had just purchased 8 new homes, HUD homes in the community, and he helped us to open those homes. Last year, we served 110 individuals throughout the St. Louis City and County region, and Tim helped build the team out there to make sure that we were a leader in residential services. With Tim's resignation, I elevated Megan to be the Vice President of Day and Employment Services. He had been over day services. And then I elevated Kate Rugg to be the Vice President of Residential and Medical Services. Kate's been with the organization for close to 15 years. She started in employment services. She got a degree in nutrition and helped to design and build our nutrition center, which is providing meals to individuals in residential that are greatly increasing their health outcomes, reducing their weight. It's made a positive impact. And when Tim announced his resignation, Kate was one of the people that applied for his position. She is a strong leader, well respected by the team. She had done a lot of project management in the residential area, so she knew a lot of the folks there. She certainly knew the residents and many of the staff members, and she has stepped into that role and done a great job. Tim fortunately gave us plenty of notice that he was resigning. And so Kate started in this role in February of last year, or this year, I guess. And Tim was able to mentor her for several months before he actually left the organization. I appreciate Kate's wisdom, her vision of the whole residential department and the challenges of serving an elderly population. Her knowledge of nutrition and health has really enhanced how we're looking at services for the future. And she has a great team under her, including Nancy Fortune and Marianne Tolliver and Craig Strobeck and Jen Bender and Lauren Litzinich. And this team has really come together under Kate to elevate our residential services and to help us to understand the changing dynamics of the aging population that we're serving, but also the younger population that are coming to us for services. So I'm grateful to them. With Kate's promotion, we had to fill her position, and we were so fortunate to be able to promote Alicia Broughton, who worked for Kate at the Nutrition Center. Alicia, too, is a dietitian, and she has taken over that role as Director of Nutrition Services, and she has been with the organization for quite some time. She was actually the cook at Child Garden School prior to us closing that, and then when we were closing Child Garden, was when we started thinking about piloting a nutrition program, and Alicia came to work for Kate under that program. I know that that program will continue to make a positive difference in the lives of the individuals that we support under Alicia and her team. So then there were two agency-focused goals that are internal focus that are going to be important to us. But before I get into those, I want to mention another transition that we had from the executive team. Kathy Tassone was our Vice President of Operations and Chief Financial Officer for 25 years. She got an amazing opportunity to become the CFO for the St. Louis Zoo. She came to me and told me that she couldn't pass up this opportunity, that she wasn't getting any younger, in her words, and that she was really excited about some new challenges at this point in time in her life. Kathy made very positive, lasting changes to this organization, and we're grateful for her leadership and everything that she did for us in her time with us. Since her departure, I reevaluated what she was responsible for, which again, like me and many of us on the executive team, Tim included, we grew up in this organization when it was very small and became much larger and larger, and each of us took on more and more roles. Starting today, we would not necessarily give each person all of those roles. So when Kathy announced her resignation, I, with the executive team, reevaluated what roles she had in the organization and what were key roles that we needed to keep under the CFO title, and what else can we look at differently. One of those that I knew was super important to us was our employees are the biggest asset that we have in this organization, and maintaining a good, high quality workforce, recruiting the best people and maintaining those people, retaining those people is essential to our mission. So in that, keeping that in mind, I elevated Sherry Grodner to be our Vice President of HR. Sherry has been our HR Director for a little over 5 years. She has already made positive changes in this organization, including recruiting some of the best team we've ever had here in my 35 years. And so we're grateful that Sherry wanted to and was willing to move up to the Vice President role. And she's already making a positive difference on the executive team. With Sherry's promotion, we had to backfill the HR director position. So we did that with a very, very capable and intelligent Ginger Lewis, who is now the director of HR. And rounding out the team is Peyton Ossie, who is our assistant director of talent acquisition. We still have great people under them. You see some of their pictures here. And together, those folks have helped us to really increase not only the recruitment and the quality of people that we're recruiting for this organization, but increasing our retention efforts, which is really key for the continuity of services. The longer we can maintain our staff, it's better for the families, it's better for the individuals that we support if they have the same individuals supporting them over time. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and express my gratitude to Tammy Childress, who is our Director of Finance, who has stepped up as we are currently searching for a new CFO. Tammy and the team that you see here in the lower left are doing a phenomenal job of keeping things going. They were always the power behind Kathy and have always kept things going. And I'm really grateful to each of them for their patience and for everything that they're doing as we transition to a new CFO. So one of the internal goals was we want to become the employer of choice within the St. Louis region. To achieve this goal, we had to significantly raise our rates of pay to our staff. Prior to, in February of 2020, just to put things in perspective, folks, in February of 2020, just prior to the pandemic starting, we were paying people $11.50 an hour. It was the best that we could do at the time. And it was a challenge and we all recognize it. I want you to know that everybody on the executive team, every financial discussion we have is about how can we maximize pay to our staff. That is always our priority. And the $11.50 back in February of 2020 was the best we could do at that time. But I'm very, very, very proud to say, because of some advocacy effort, because of some financial changes in our outlook, we are now starting at $21 per hour. So a 83% increase in wages is due to that strong advocacy from our staff, from our families, to tell legislators that we need increases in rates to allow our staff to have a more affordable living wage where they can not have to maintain 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs just to make ends meet. I want you to know that this is a commitment by our board of directors, by our executive team, to always maximize our resources to our staff. During the pandemic, we had averaged over 100 openings on any given month. Today, we have 22 openings. Our turnover rate has gone from 42.3% in February of 2020 to now down to 33.6%. Also, on the national average, it's around 60% turnover rate in this field. So I'm proud of what our agency was able to accomplish. I am grateful for our staff's patience with us as we've worked through all of these challenges to get our rates up. It is not an ending point, folks. It will always be a goal for me to raise those rates of pay to our staff so that you will be able to stay here and afford to support yourself and your families in a way that you need to, while still being able to commit to the mission and do the work that you do so well. To enhance our ability to become the employer of choice, our Race, Equity, Access, Diversity, and Inclusion, or READY committee, has done transformational work to improve our diversity efforts within the agency. Recently, they reorganized to maximize staff involvement and participation in ensuring we become a welcoming organization for all people, including our staff, board of directors, the individuals and families we support, and the community as a whole. To this end, we have added 4 new employee resource groups, or ERGs. These are groups that have been identified as priorities under the READY committee over the last several years, and we decided to break it up into these employee resource groups, which is something that has been going on. ERGs exist in the for-profit world and have for many years, and we believe that this is the best way to address the challenges that we hear from our staff, and to give everybody a voice at the table on topics that are important to us. So we have formulated the 4 initial ERGs. The first one is for Black, Indigenous, People of Color, or BIPOC. The second one is for women. The third one is for LGBTQIA. And the fourth one is on neurodiversity in the workplace. These groups are available for anybody to join. If you're interested, there is a QR code there. You can also find this information on the ARC Connect system. And we also have it showing up on the Rise TVs right now. It is an opportunity for you to join other employees to talk about the things that are important to you on those issues. Now, if you don't see something that is of interest to you, but there is something that's important to you, there is a process by which you can form a new ERG, and there's information on ARC Connect about how to apply to develop a new ERG. You'll have to get some support and get some signatures, but we're open to always growing as an organization and addressing the issues that are important to all of our staff members. I want to thank Alicia Broughton, who is now assuming the role of chair of READY committee. She has worked very closely with Megan Favaza, and Sherry Grodner and Stephanie Scott on the transformation of the Ready Committee to this new way of addressing these our diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives going forward. I really think this makes us a stronger organization. I hope that you will join one of these groups if it speaks to you, and that you will voice your opinion about how we can improve as an organization. Change only comes if I know and the executive team knows from you what's important to you and how we should improve as an organization. The second agency focus goal was to increase cross-departmental collaboration. During the pandemic, I was most impressed with the collaboration that I saw across departments. For decades as an organization, which is true for most organizations, there was a lot of silo work going on and people were not paying attention to what was going on in other departments around them. During the pandemic, I saw that all those silos break down and everybody working together to make sure that we could provide services and to figure out how to do things in a new way, online platforms, and how can we support people and yet remain safe. I was really impressed with that. And so to build on that momentum, I asked that we put this into the strategic plan to increase collaboration across departments. The directors have been working really hard to identify goals that they believe will help us to measure our achievement in this area. But the directors, like all of you, are very, very busy. So to help them with the facilitation of this goal, and all their individual goals underneath this one, I hired Allie Alderman, who's pictured up in the upper right-hand corner of this slide, as our agency project and collaboration manager. Allie was formerly my CFO fellow when she was pursuing her MSW at the Brown School. She really impressed me and everybody in this organization with her ability to project manage, her assessment skills, her intelligence, and her willingness to step in and do anything that's necessary. So Allie joined us, and she is helping the directors with their various projects. She's also helping with the family navigation, redefining some of what the family navigation is, and some of the CKF goals. She has been very helpful to me and to other folks in the organization, so we're thrilled to have her on board. You might have noticed that I skipped over a goal that was a participant or outward-looking goal, which is to lead to the development of clustered living communities and provide moderate supports. This is an exciting goal for me because prior to the pandemic and during the pandemic and since the pandemic, we received a lot of calls from families saying, hey, my son, my daughter graduated from school. They're sitting in their basement playing video games, and I really need them to be motivated and to get out and start their life. But neither the individual nor the family knew how to take those next steps. With the Connect team under Beth and the Next team under Libby Eversgerd, we have started putting together ways to help those individuals be more independent and to learn some skills. A vision that I've had for a long, long time has been to purchase an apartment building and to turn that into an immersive learning experience for young adults, so 18 to 30-year-olds. Think about the first time you lived out on your own. You had an apartment, maybe you lived with some roommates, and you learned how to pay bills, how to get around town, how to get a job, how to navigate when you got sick. How do you make a doctor's appointment, or how do you go to urgent care? All the things that we have, how do you pay bills? How do you go grocery shopping? All the things that you have to learn when you first move out on your own. So we're very, very, very fortunate to have received a $1.5 million grant from our partners and friends at the Productive Living Board in St. Louis County to launch this new immersive learning experience program. So we, with Beth and Libby and Stephanie Scott and Kate Rugg, we're all searching now for an apartment building in St. Louis County. We're looking for something that will have about 30 to 50 apartments. It will be for folks that we support to teach them how to live independently, but it'll also be for other folks who do not have disabilities to live there with them in the complex with them. We want this, like all of our services, to be inclusive and to help people grow together and to build community together. It is my hope that we can find an apartment complex close to a local university so that we can have university students living there that are approximately the same age range as the folks that we will be supporting. They too will not be living there forever. This is not going to be anybody's forever home. They'll be moving out into the community after they graduate from school. And we want our folks, once they have developed those skills, and it will be 1 to 3 years, depending on the individual, they'll be able to move out into the community. We're super excited about this program and know that it addresses a gap that we've been hearing about for over a decade now. We are thrilled to have this initial funding to start this program, and you'll be hearing more about this program in the coming months. The other program that we're looking forward to is a new employment program that is funded under the Department of Mental Health, which will help individuals who are currently in our day programs explore the possibility of employment. Some of these folks were not given the opportunity for employment. Either Voc Rehab decided that they were not employable, or they were just given the choice of day program when they graduated from school, but they are interested in potentially having employment. So we've had for the last year a NEON grant through the ARC of the US to explore the possibility of developing a new program funded through the Department of Mental Health and under guidelines that the Department of Mental Health has for this type of funding. Megan Favazza and many folks throughout this organization have been in focus groups to evaluate what could we do and what would this program look like. So through that planning, we have developed what we call now Path to Employment, a new program. And Sandy here, picture with Megan, is our new manager of that program. We will be launching that program over the next 6 months or so. Probably in January, we'll start taking folks into this program. Again, these will be individuals that are currently in our day program that want to explore over time the possibility of employment. So this is a really exciting new way. So Sandy Crowell is the Assistant Director of the Path to Employment program, and Megan Favazza is the Vice President over that program. Another thing I'm looking forward to in the future is next year is the 75th anniversary of the St. Louis Arc. I'm giving you a preview, folks. Here is our logo for our 75th year, designed by our incredible advancement team. They came up with this logo that we will use on everything next year, emphasizing that we've been around for 75 years, empowering people in all ways. Always. So we're excited about our 75th anniversary. We will have events every month next year, starting in January. We are planning galas for the folks that we support, for our staff, and for the community as a whole. There will be individual celebrations and group celebrations throughout the year, and I hope that you will join us in those celebrations. We started 75 years ago with just a small group of families wanting a better future for their sons and daughters, and over 75 years have grown to now serve over 4,500 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities throughout the metropolitan area, being a leader in all those service areas. So I hope that you'll join us for those celebrations. I want to end with expressions of gratitude to many folks. I want to thank everybody for their tremendous support and help to make us be successful over the last years, but over the last 75 years. It is an incredible honor when families trust us with their sons and daughters to provide services to them, to provide residential supports to them. And it is not an honor that I or any of you take lightly when we are given that opportunity to support people. And I'm grateful that you put everything into your jobs. I also want to thank our generous support of our funders who make it all possible. We have many to thank. All of their logos are up here on the screen. But most of all, I want to thank the incredible employees of the St. Louis Arc, who I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with for over the past 35 years. I would not trade it for anything. You are the most compassionate, caring, giving, creative, generous people that I've ever met in my life. And you impress me constantly with your work ethic, your dedication and commitment to our mission. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you and the families that we serve. It is through your combined efforts and commitment that we helped gain and maintain our person-centered excellence with distinction accreditation, which is a title that is limited to only less than a dozen agencies worldwide. And I'm proud of that quality that you all provide in the services that you provide every day. So I want to thank all of you, and I appreciate your time today.